ever since Warner Bros. Announced a reboot of the Harry Potter franchise in the form of a new series on their Max streaming service. The fandom has been anxiously anticipating the cast that will be associated with this latest production featuring the Wizarding World. But not everyone is supportive of everybody having anything to do with J.K. Rowling, and John Lithgow was recently asked about his thoughts on the J.K. controversy. Let's talk about John Lithgow and how some cast members are rebelling against the famous author here on That Park Place. We're gonna need this version of Jonas for our next story right here because this one's a doozy. From That Park Place, John Lithgow won't quit Harry Potter series over J.K. Rowling gender controversies. Quote, why is this a factor?
It's the most John Lithgow answer ever. And when we get to the quotes, you'll see why.
Absolutely. Marvin Monster, April 28th. 2025. The ongoing issues between gender activists and Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling won't stop veteran actor John Lithgow from taking on the role of Dumbledore in the upcoming HBO series. John Lithgow has made it clear that outside pressure will not influence his involvement in HBO's upcoming Harry Potter television series. In a new interview with the Times of London, the 79-year-old actor addressed the controversy surrounding J.K. Rowling and the backlash that he has personally received since signing on to play Professor Albus Dumbledore. Now, people will note that what he is referring to right here is there is a controversy in which, well, J.K. Rowling, not only has she, had her thoughts about gender, but, she kind of leaned into it recently with a recent Supreme Court decision regarding the definition of a woman and so forth. And as you can see, it's a very controversial decision, you see. But yes, John Lithgow was asked about that and more. Lithgow said he, quote, absolutely did not expect the negative reaction from Rowling's critics, but remains unfazed. Of course, it was a big decision because it's probably the last major role I'll play, Lithgow explained. It's an 8-year commitment, so I was just thinking about mortality and that this is a very good winding down role. Before officially accepting the role, Lithgow shared that a close friend, a mother of a child who identifies differently than her birth sex, sent him an open letter about Rowling titled, quote, an open letter to John Lithgow, please walk away from Harry Potter. John Lithgow described the letter as, quote, the canary in the coal mine, revealing the extent of the organized push against the projects associated with Rowling. Despite receiving the letter and the broader criticism, Lithgow was firm when asked if the backlash made him reconsider joining. Oh, heavens no, he replied.
That's what I meant. Like, I could just hear, oh, heavens no.
Yes, oh, heavens no. I thought, why is this even a factor at all? He said. Lithgow noted that he had not yet met Rowling, but expressed curiosity about eventually speaking with her. He also says, it came as a total surprise to me, this whole controversy. It's going to define me for the last chapter of my life, I'm afraid. So there you go. Guys are taking all of this, and we have maybe somebody else who's not so supportive as Lithgow himself.
Lithgow, first of all, I love that he had a dramatic career and then a heavily comedic career with Third Rock from the Sun, and he was amazing on Third Rock from the Sun.
Yes.
You could not have cast that role any more perfectly. That is to do sitcom work and do it that well over that long of a period of time is a testament to somebody's ability. And then, of course, he went back to dramatic stuff because eventually people realized you could have a complex characterization even after people seeing you do goofball stuff. Forgive me, one of my favorite scenes on that show was they went to a wedding and of course they're aliens posing as humans, and they say, we're gathered here today in the presence of God. And he says, oh, where is he? I have some questions for him.
My favorite was when he dyes his hair and he looks in the mirror and he goes, oh my God, I'm gorgeous.
Lithgow is now, this is probably the last significant role he'll have. He can pick up stuff in the off seasons here. So he's uncancelable at this point. And J.K. Rowling, I don't know if she can stop any of the casting decisions that have been made at this point. One in particular comes to mind.
She signed off on that, and you know it.
Yes, of course she did, because she may not be in lockstep with the gender Gestapo that's out there, but she definitely is still a liberal. So she also was in support of Hermione being black in The Cursed Child. So she even rewrote her own headcanon here to say, well, I did say her hair was curly and I never said Hermione was white. when they have put a black Hermione on West End and then Broadway.
But she 100% said that Snape was white.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
110%.
Pale,
Multiple
sallow.
times.
I'm sure that she had a specific person in mind when she originally wrote Snape. Now she probably amplified into somebody a little bit more narratively romantic when it comes down to it. But this is I appreciate that John Lithgow, as a grown-up who can't be canceled, said, why do you care? Of course, there's the other aspect, which we referenced earlier, of a bunch of talentless hacks. I haven't read the entire list, but I'm seeing a lot of actors that I don't understand why they have a career that are coming out against the ruling in the UK, because they have to stand for something here. They can't stand for, we're going to do a good job as a actor. They have to make sure we all know their political stances so that people can get confused and think the people that they like are the people that they need to mimic. And therefore, I don't know, it's just a waste of time. If these people didn't have a career, I don't think anyone would notice.
Here's the thing with Rowling is she can hold a grudge. I mean, she obviously can't stand Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson after they turned on her over this exact thing. However, I have heard there's a rumor going around that Tom Felton might be taking on a role in this Harry Potter series because he stuck by her through the whole thing. Also, Robbie Coltrane, who is unfortunately passed away, he played Hagrid in the originals, and he stood by her as well. So it was not everybody, but one of my favorite quotes from her is somebody said, "Is there an actor in something where when you see them in something, it instantly ruins that thing for you?" And she said, "I'll give you 3 guesses."
Oh man, that's rough. Now I want to go ahead and get back to that point that Jonas was making before right there, because J.K. Rowling, she's a very complex figure for sure, but some of these people, well, maybe they're a little bit more simple in that regard. Papaidu, recently cast as Professor Severus Snape in the Harry Potter reboot series, has signed an open letter in support of trans rights in the UK. The news follows J.K. Rowling's public support of recent UK Supreme Court ruling that defines gender based on biological sex. Now, this is a very, very interesting aspect of the story, because on the one hand, we have somebody who has been just cast in a role as part of this new series right here, going, okay, well, what's the big deal? Others, though, and much more controversially cast, maybe not so much here. I think this is particularly interesting. Culture, your thoughts on this? And I'm sorry that we had to bring Papaidu up in such a manner, but he kind of he signed an open letter in order to do that. So go ahead.
Nothing. It's just this is one of those items that may fall under a contract restriction that could find himself out of the role. Ooh. Ultimately, J.K. Rowling has an amazing amount of power with her property. She does not allow her IP to be played around with. I would imagine that, this going directly against her, specifically being in an ongoing project, might not endear him to her. And I would imagine if she has the ability to enforce a contract element that says you can't do anything that would be disparaging, yada, yada, oral to perpetuity, all kinds of other things they shove in contracts, I would imagine that she might ask Warner Brothers to enforce that so that they can select a new Snape. And maybe they'll do right by the character and, not force another virtue garbage thing in front of us.
It's going to be interesting to see how effective the hate watching thing is here. No. Now, if he delivers a great performance, I think there's a lot of people who will end up forgiving it. I know there's a lot of people that if you're engaged enough to be watching this show, you are not the typical audience member. I'm just going to say that.
Look, if Papaidu is so supportive of this stuff, well, why is he even signing on for this?
Because like so many people, he likes money.
Yes.
Now, here's the funny thing. If J.K. Rowling came out and said, I may be thinking about writing another book, who would like to be involved in the inevitable merchandising tributary that will be coming from it? I think a lot of companies, publishers, studios would sign on immediately and say, no, we don't. but she's also not the kind of person to say, but you also have to be in lockstep with me. I think, this is a very ungrateful actor here who is getting confused about the fact that it's 2025 and we're no longer allowing this kind of silliness to reign. Biological sex is biological sex. Forgive me if that ends up affecting the channel here. And this does not erase men. It doesn't affect men in much of a way at all. It only impacts women. And forgive me, I'm going to be a straight up misogynist here and say it is actually the duty of men to protect women. And I don't know what this guy's deal is, but I wouldn't trust him around an actual woman if this is his attitude towards things.
I get the feeling he's not altogether interested in interacting with women. Just throwing that out there.
Maybe.
I not to throw any disparagement myself, I'll just say it this way. He doesn't fit the role as described in the books. And this may have been the one time that JK said, you know what, I'll give you one, so that this, moves forward and you send me more money. But just like this Papa, whatever his name is, people are motivated by money, including JK Rowling. So I just feel like, I just feel like, he's an easy removal. You know what? Something came up in your career, buddy, and it was your mouth.
There's no point in trying to pander to these people because they're never going to support her work because she disagrees with them on this one thing. It doesn't matter. We learned that with Hogwarts Legacy, they all still, tried to go after every streamer that streamed it, even though they gave you all the representation you could ever want in that game. It's never enough. It's not enough. She disagrees with them on one thing, and for that, she must be destroyed.
Yeah. I'm just not a huge fan of virtue signaling regardless. So
Mary Vita with the 499. JK said it in a couple of interviews that Rickman was the only actor she wanted for Snape, and that was a requirement. Yeah, that's the weird thing about this, that this casting choice be so atypical of the original casting by of Alan Rickman there, and for the character itself in a lot of ways. It's a strange choice, and maybe culture's right, and this can be resolved in a way that I don't know is better for fans.
Yeah, that's by the way, that's going to make me a lot of friends. So yeah. My opinion on this is, maybe
I'm just tired of Hollywood having all of the control over entertainment at this point. California is it's making a pretty good case that the areas that make all the image decisions for California are a bunch of mentally deranged progressives who think that any movement is good, regardless of actually thinking through those outcomes. I think it's time to let Los Angeles fade away.
You are in a mood today, my friend, and I like it.
Yeah, no, but see, I'm with Jonas on this one. He and I kind of have the same opinion.
Well, yeah, but you're always in that mood.
Okay. It's true. I can't argue with that.
I told you, this one right here, I'm gonna need it, and he delivered. That is for sure. Radial Drags with the 5 British pounds. Everything woke has gone to crap. Why do they keep insisting on doing it? Definition of insanity, everyone. Hey, you know what? I actually like Jonas's channel. You can't say that right there. No. Yes, it's
that's not where I thought that was going. Thank you.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.